Well, I missed day 5, but unfortunately that was because of the weather. I filmed a little bit, but because of the snow and the cold, we had a little bit of internet trouble, so I was having trouble uploading it. So I'm going to make up for that today. Video's not going to be 20 minutes long, I hope. But you never know. I just start talking and here I go. So I posted on my Facebook to have people ask questions about me, about anxiety, whatever. And this isn't everything, but it's everything I figured I could answer in less than 20 minutes. First question being, why speak out? That answer is simple in a way, and that being, I don't want people to have the stigma of a mental illness. I don't want them to be afraid to go to counseling or afraid to talk to their doctor about being sad all the time or being tired all the time. I'm not saying that's always related to a mental illness, but there's so many people that live in fear of being diagnosed with depression or anxiety or even bipolar disorder, or worse, something like schizophrenia or something like that. I want them to know that there are others like them and they can get help. And perhaps lately the reason I wanted to speak out is because at work I meet a lot of people. I meet people from different religions, different races, people that tell me about God in the middle of the store, people that I tell about God in the middle of the store, and it's awesome. Like, I met a lady that just lost her mother and her father and her brother all within 1 year, and she was upset, and she was telling me the story, and I'm trying to hold back the tears, but she's telling me that she was just diagnosed with depression, and I was like, I completely understand where you're coming from because I was too. And I was sitting there, I didn't tell my full story, but I was telling her a little bit about myself, and we're both crying, and she's just like, can I give you a hug right here? And I was like, go ahead. I love hugs. And that moment in the store, I was like, sharing my story may encourage somebody to get help. It may encourage them to fight longer, to not give up. And then there's the other process where I had a coworker that was crying out for people, and we kept constantly missing it and missing it and missing it, and he's still on the path of getting better, but it was a really long few months with him going through all this, and I read all the signs, but somehow I still let him slip, and that bothers me that happened, because I was like, he's doing the same stuff that I was doing. Why am I just kind of shaking it off like it's normal? And I don't want people to do that. I want people to be able to get help. Question number 2 are about writing and music. And first one was, does music help? The second one talks about, does writing help, and when did you start writing? For me, my mom had me reading and writing before I started kindergarten. It was something that I love to do. I love letters, I love words, and I was always using big words. Like when I was 4 years old, 5 years old, riding in the car with my grandparents, and I said, interesting. It's supposed to be interesting, but it came out interesting. And I've always had an easy time putting words together to create things. I wouldn't say masterpieces because I don't think they're that good, but I've always had a way with words to be able to have somebody say, why don't you do this professionally, or why don't you do this all the time? The thing is, I do it all the time. There's not a day goes by that there's not either the note app on my phone open or a notebook. I keep a notebook in my locker at work. I keep one in my bag. Keep one in my purse. There's one everywhere, just because I love to write, and when I see something, I've got to write it out. Like, I've wrote poems and songs about conversations I've heard when I worked at the Waffle House, when I worked at Walmart. And it just, like I said, it's something that's came really easy for me. And it's truly a blessing from God that I'm able to do that. For me, words are like instruments. They can either help somebody or they can hurt somebody. I choose to use mine to inspire, to encourage people, and to help people. And that's why I love music so much. I'm a terrible guitar player, but I'm still learning. I know like 4 chords. I can play you a sad country song. And like, I can play the hell out of Sarah Evans' 3 Chords and the Truth. It's probably the only thing I can play all the way through. And for me, I can be in these terrible moments to where I'm crying, I'm angry, I'm upset, and I can hear a song like Plum's I Need You Now, or This Is My Story, This Is My Song, and they make me happy. Or one of my favorites right now is an artist from here in Arkansas named Ashley McBryde. She has a song called Redemption, and every day before I go to work, I listen to that song. And everyone's like, why do you do that? And I was like, it might be the mix of country music and cuss words, or it may just be her attitude. Like, I don't know. She has the best attitude in the world. And if you haven't heard her, go to YouTube, go to iTunes, Facebook. Check that out. Look up Redemption. If you look up nothing else today, look up Redemption by Ashley McBryde and tell me it's not an amazing song. And this isn't a plug video because I don't know her personally, but I love that song. Go look for it. Question I also get asked a lot is from the 2 books I wrote, Borderline Hypochondriac, which is journal entries, and Behind the Scenes, which is my poetry book and the stories behind them. And I made the decision when Behind the Scenes came out to donate all of my profit from the book to St. Jude. And the question I'm asked all the time is, why St. Jude? Why not something else? That answer is the simplest thing, and it all stems back from those commercials when I was a kid. Even now, they're still on. And you're watching all these kids, and they're bald, and you think they're the most adorable things, and then you realize that they have this disease that literally kills thousands of children a year. And in 2013, I was on my way to Mississippi to go to the beach with some friends and my brother. And I was like, guys, let's go tour St. Jude. Because I'm a St. Jude Partner in Hope. I donate money every month. And it's something that I've done for about 10 years now. Because that's, well, actually longer than 10 years. About 12 years. And actually being able to tour St. Jude and see what they do, the research that they do, and the work that they do for childhood cancer is absolutely amazing. State-of-the-art facilities. The families never pay anything. They're given, some of them are given, like the Ronald McDonald House or the Grizzly House. They're given places to live for months at a time while their child is receiving treatment. And I mean, it was absolutely amazing walking through those hallways to see the love that the people have for the kids that work there. But at the same time, it broke my heart because I'd see these little wagons, and I'm like, I have one of these wagons, or had one of these wagons as a kid to play with, but instead of playing with the wagon, the kid's being pushed down the hall to a chemotherapy or a radiation treatment or some kind of MRI, CT scan. And it's just so much more than you can put into words. And until you actually see it firsthand, I don't know if it'll have the kind of effect on you that it did on me. But I will continue to donate to St. Jude and support St. Jude All because of that. All because of one fact. That every year, think of it this way. An average classroom is 30 to 35 students. Picture that many kids every day being diagnosed with some form of cancer. And tell me you wouldn't support St. Jude. The next set of questions kind of all go together as far as being about friends. And first question in all of that was about my childhood friends, because somebody noticed that I mentioned I've had one of my same best friends since I was 5 years old. True story. I don't get to talk to her every day. I should probably tell you this. I'm originally not from Jonesboro. I'm from a town maybe 45 minutes away to an hour. I don't really know. All I know is I hate the drive there because of all the country roads. And it's Osceola, smaller than Jonesboro, but it's right next to Blytheville, which is a main town here in Northeast Arkansas. And I grew up going to Osceola schools until I was 11, and we moved to Jonesboro. When I was 5 years old, I walked into kindergarten, and like any kid does, we're going to be friends with everybody. Not me. I am socially awkward, have been since I was a kid. And sitting at recess, I had a couple of friends come up to me, Kat and Erica. And then, of course, I had other friends like Crystal, Holly, and so many of them. And Kat and I kind of clicked right from the beginning. And I have no idea why. Because, you're 5 years old. You're not going to meet your best friend forever at 5. I did. And, we did everything together from then. I think we were in 5th or 6th grade. We had slumber parties, and before then, she lived right down the road from the middle school. So we would walk from school to her house, which was literally a 2-minute walk. And I remember the first time I ever did it, my mom was so mad because I wasn't at school like I was supposed to. And she was freaking out. But she noticed me playing down the road. Oh, she was so mad. She's like, "Why did you leave school? Are you stupid?" Like moms do. They get angry, they yell, they holler, threaten to beat you, tell you when you get home you're in trouble. I wasn't in trouble. Mom didn't care. But Mom comes down to the house and she's like yelling at me for leaving school. And she notices Kat's mom is Miss Henrietta. They actually worked together at Southwire. And Mom was like, "Oh, okay," she wasn't as mad, but she was still angry. And from then on out, Kat and I were the most inseparable friends. Even with the Backstreet Boys and BSB thing. Kat was a Nick Carter fan. I was a Justin Timberlake fan. We still ended up going to the Backstreet Boys concert. And we had the most fun. But something I will always remember from then is when the Spice Girls came out. And it was probably 97, 96, 97. I don't remember. But we were really big into the Spice Girls. She was Baby Spice and I was like Sporty Spice. And we would pretend to be the Spice Girls. And then 1998 happened. And the Dixie Chicks came out. And from then on out, my favorite band was Submitted. And I remember going to Kat's house, and there was this busted trampoline, and didn't even have a top on it. It was just the rails. And Kat and I would act stupid and hang from it. We'd be singing Dixie Chicks songs. And I was Natalie Maines, and I think she was Marty. I think she was the fiddle player. She may have been Emily, the banjo player. But I was Natalie Maines, and that's all that matters. Sorry, Kat, but the lead singer is the most important one. And her mom would record us on this little cassette or video camera. I really wish we could find those because it would probably be the funniest thing. I know there's a little cassette tape somewhere where I had a sore throat the year I got a karaoke machine for my birthday. I think I was 12. And Kat and I, because I could do this really weird sound with my voice, was sore. And I was losing my voice. And Kat and I made this television series where, no, it was a radio station where we called it Dancing with Stevie. And I was Stevie Nicks. And I would interview all these crazy musicians. And it was like the funniest thing. We would act stupid and I would ask these random questions, and then we'd sing like Landslide or Rhiannon and annoy our parents. And they still don't let us live that down. They're like, hey, remember the time you did this? But of course I do. Kat's my best friend. And then shifting when I moved to Jonesboro from Osceola, I was in 6th grade, about to start 7th grade. So I had like 4 months at the intermediate center at Debleton before starting junior high. Well, in 7th grade, I met my other childhood best friend, Christina. And, ooh. You know, we always sat, we were in the same homeroom because of our last names. Christina sat first, and then a guy named Ryan, and then myself. No, wait, it was Christina, then a guy named John, then Ryan, then me. And it was so much fun because Christina and I would still pass notes to each other. I feel bad for Miss Steed. Miss Steed was our homeroom teacher in high school, and she tried to separate us, but she's like, I gotta put you guys in alphabetical order, so I can't separate you. We're like, but we had the kind of friendship that we never did anything to really get in trouble. We were the good kids, like afraid to get in trouble because our parents would kill us. Plus, Christina's mom was a school bus driver, so she would know before we even got home if we got in trouble. Most of the stuff we ever did was talking too much, which we still get in trouble for as adults. True story. And, I mean, we had the kind of friendship that Mr. Tedford, the principal, he would, oh, there's Christine and Ashley, those troublemakers, coming down the hallway. Yes, that was us. And I mean, Christina and I did a lot of stuff together. And I mean, we were in different classes together. Like, one of the best ones was Miss Ballew's class. Don't even remember what the class is, Miss Ballew. Don't be upset because I don't remember what the class is. But it was always Christina, myself, Brandon, and Bobby. And the four of us together, even more annoying than just me and Christina. And I remember so many times I would walk into class, Miss Ballew, Miss Ballew, Miss Ballew. And Christina would join in. And everything from school, went to prom, which the prom story is hilarious because Christina's like, hey Ashley, you should ride with so-and-so. And I was like, okay, I'll ride with him. Probably a good thing because she's probably going to kill me for this. Christina's bag falls on the floor and her foot gets tangled in it. And she does like this Dukes of the Hazzard thing into somebody's ditch and almost hits a mailbox. She may have actually hit the mailbox. I don't know. It's not really clear. But the whole time she's getting out of the car, she's like, sir, your mailbox is fine. And the guy's like, I don't care about the damn mailbox. Are you fine? She's like, sir, your mailbox is fine. And I really hope that Christina and I are friends when she's like 80, because I'm going to remind her of that as long as I don't lose my memory, which you never know. Because that's going to be a great story. And all of those two things tie into the next question I was asked, that if all my friends are as crazy as I am. Define crazy. Because Christina, yes, is just like me. Only she's married and has 2 kids. Kat, we all know she's just like me. She even works at Walmart. Tanya and Jamie, they're kind of my mellow friends. They can both have their moments to where they're hilarious. But for the most part, it's just, really, Ashley? Did you just say that? Did you just do that? Yes, I did. They're kind of the ones that keep me from doing this and just doing this. And then Lisa and Mark. Oh, Lisa and Mark. They are kind of like me. Lisa, she's not... Actually, Lisa is as loud as me. She might be louder. But they're two people that I've known for a long time too. Like I said before, Lisa I've known since I was 14, Mark since I was 18. So pretty much all of my adult life I've had halfway decent same group of friends. And that's not counting the ones that I've let go for not being able to be where I am, wanting to do things that I didn't find I needed in my life. But Lisa and Mark, yes, they are just as crazy. And finally, Amy. She's the tough one to figure out if she's as crazy as me. Because one day, actually it's not even a full day, she can be the most serious person that I can talk to. And then I realize we're probably separated at birth twins, if she wasn't older than me by 2 years. I mean, it's like we could be in two different towns, which we are, because she doesn't live in Jonesboro. And I'll be thinking something, and then I'll get a text message, hey, guess what? It's like, I was just thinking that. But Amy's the friend that kind of goes from being my most serious friend that kind of take yourself out of that moment to being carpool karaoke. That's the easiest thing. Being as crazy and excited as I am. It's like when I tell people who she is, and it's a true story, just happened a few days ago. Look for somebody that acts just like me. And they're like, oh dear God, there's another one. Now with the video games and music. Final questions. Video games, obviously, I'm a huge Nintendo fan. Notice the hat. Zelda. I love Mario. My brother and I actually own a Nintendo, a Super Nintendo, an N64, a Wii U. Looking forward to the Nintendo Switch when it comes out in March or April. And like my living room almost looks like a GameStop, but with Nintendo. My brother, he's a big Nintendo fan as well, but for the most part, he's all Sony PlayStation. Which I also am a huge PlayStation fan. Currently, Fallout and Tomb Raider. I can play the heck out of those games. And with music, what kind of music do I love? I love Christian rock music. Like, my favorite two radio stations right now are K-Love and Air One, just because of the encouragement that they give me. I can be having a terrible day, flip on that radio station, or one of them, and know that there's going to be music that inspires me. And it's artists like Skillet, Fireflight, Francesca Battistelli, Mandisa, Toby Mac, Seventh Day Slumber, The Newsboys. I love all of that. But anybody that knows me knows my favorite band is the Dixie Chicks. I also love Hanson. I love Carrie Underwood, Miranda Lambert, some Garth Brooks stuff. I also have a secret obsession with Aaron Carter. His music's not as cool as it was when I was 11, but still, hey. And there's so many other stations. Like, I love the Fox here in town. And as I've said so many times, music is something that calms my anxiety. So what I want to say this day is find music that comforts you. Find a hobby that comforts you. Reach out to somebody with a mental illness. If you suffer with one yourself, don't be afraid to get help, because 2017 is going to be that year for you. 2017 is hopefully going to be the year that we end the stigma with mental illness. So here we go.